Dear Bhante, dear Venerable sisters and brothers, Dhamma friends, we are going to start another session of question and answers. As usual, we'll start with the written questions, and after, if time permits, we can open it for the audience. To start the session, we would invite Vincent to present written questions kindly.
Asarai. Today we are rich. We have about 20 questions. Number one, is mindfulness the same as being aware of our surrounding in the present moment? Second, how does a person know if he or she is on the path to enlightenment?
The second part of the question is, you know, if you can verify that I am mindful, definitely you are on the path. So therefore, easily we can rephrase the question, how do we know whether we are mindful or not? How to verify the mindful moment? It's very crucial. So we'll keep that question open and we'll contribute to that to see the method of verification is the most important. Pratyaksha here. So how to know under your very nose. As far as you know you are mindful, as far as you know how to verify mindfulness, definitely you are on the path. The early part is when you are aware about the surrounding, if it is happening here, now, I am base, that easily we can say you are mindful.
The next question, dear Bhante, regarding mindfulness of feeling. When you notice pleasant feeling while you concentrate on the breath, do you change the primary subject from breath to feeling? Do you stop exploring the breath and move to feeling? Or is it possible to see breath and also see feelings at the same time?
Yesterday I read one, how do you call, a window or a photo in the computer. It says, the light is grace coming from the heaven and it enlightens your path but never blocks the path. So likewise, when the more understanding of the feelings will enlighten your path but never blocks it. So therefore still you can be aware that I am with the breath, and while keeping the breath face to face and continuous, you can see a pleasant feeling happens. It's like a backdrop in the stage. It can change, but your relationship with the primary object can happen. So therefore, there is no necessity for you to change the subject from matter to immaterial, from the breath to the feeling. It is definitely an endowment, definitely a blessing, but it is help promoting your basic mindfulness with the primary object. Don't get involved. Don't get volitionally get involved. Any volitional involvement can mess it up or complicate it up. So therefore, let the mindfulness to unfold. It has many facets, not only the feeling. Later you may open the door to the perception. And you will open the door further, whether it's voluntary or involuntary. Likewise, it is, a lot of unfoldings happen. So therefore, take it as a gift, as an endowment. Let the mindfulness to progress.
Venerable Bhante, thank you in advance for your response. Yesterday you talked about diversified mindfulness. Does this mean that you can be mindful of more than one thing in the same thought moment simultaneously, or one after the other in consecutive thought moments occurring at a rapid pace? Please clarify.
So to give a systematic or lenient or answer from the beginner's point of view, first one thing at a time, and that done well. You try to be mindfulness in the single-fold object. According to the teaching of the Buddha, he says it must be a verifiable, neutral object. Something related to your existence, something related to your body. And when the mindfulness develops, it diversifies in two ways. side by side and one after the other like. Sometimes you can see wider picture, the same times, like left leg and moving, right leg weight also you can see. Right leg is moving, what is happening to the left leg also, it can come simultaneously side by side. Or while you are mindful in the breathing, you can hear background sounds and they are far away, the breath is close by. Or maybe background sounds come and disturb you, but still you can see the breath behind in the background, like it can go background, foreground changes also. So these things, if you go prepared, it appear like adventurous, hilarious and radical. But if you are going to consider this as a block or complication or distraction, that means your interview, your discussion and your communication is not cleared your doubts. So that's a blessing in the discussion. While meditation and theoretical understanding growing, we must have kamatahan suddha karna, that means interviews, and whereby you keep the subject open, mind open, and then mindfulness grow unhindered. So that means it can grow side by side two objects or one after the other, background, foreground, not only two, maybe a lot of other episodes, other windows also can happen.
Venerable Bhante, thank you for giving us your time and sharing with us your wisdom. My question, during my mindfulness meditation, when things settle down, there comes a point when mental processes stop. I am aware of the mind, it is clear and sharp, but the internal chatter, feelings, emotions stop. I am able to hold this state for a while. How long I do not know, as my eyes are closed, and then the mind goes back to its usual state and I become mindful of activity once again. I am a new meditator, about 2 years. Hence the question, is this concentration?
It's the difference between have and have not. At the beginning, we start mindfulness, one thing at a time, and that done well. Maybe a material object or concrete matter, rupa. And later you may understand rupa and nama, or matter and immaterial, and still you know where is your benchmark. You know where is your reference point. You know what is your object like. And after that, when the thing's going to get faded off, you learn the art to focus nothingness. Focus no objects, no boundaries, on infinitum, and it is happening in a gradual process, from have to have not. So when it's happening, if you are considering as if you are getting lost, if you are considering as if you are falling into abyss and losing the relationship and no orientation like, that means your self-centric idea, your love to your body and the life is blocking your progress. That means simply lack of faith and lot of doubts. And it is always the case for each and everyone. So while it is happening, you have to present it and discuss it and say, no, it is not going to give that kind of any danger. Go forward, and ultimately you can see there is no object, but the mindfulness is intact. And mindfulness upon what? As far as clouds are there, you can see my attention is go and advert and fix into the cloud. But when there is no cloud, it is looking at infinitum, we call the sky. Likewise, the have and have not, you can go. And later, once you go prepared, once you mature enough, you can see going to the nothingness and coming back to the thing. Have and have not, you have no controlling power, no choice. It is happening completely by cause and effect. Unless otherwise you get involved with the emotional, volitional activities, just let it happen. At a time it goes to nothing. At a time again, object appears in a very mild way, sometimes become a little bit gross, again going, again coming. And in Ānijasapāya Sutta, the Buddha very clearly explained in terms of movements, in terms of jerks, in terms of activities, and he says how nicely from the gross activities it become a somewhat medium kind of activities and ultimately ceases to exist. And then mind goes into this kind of a nothingness or infinitum. And again, after a while, very slight things appearing at the edge. And sometimes they become gross. And sometimes they themselves ceases to exist. So, at the early part of it, according to the Ānijasapāya Sutta, the Buddha is promoting nothingness. But this is the lacking part in our consciousness. Our whole life is with materiality, physicality, and that is why we are fighting for land and the properties and the luxuries. But the real bliss is coming when and where there is no such hindrances or matter, then it goes to the least frictional path. It goes to the comfort zone as a beginner. And therefore, in the Ānijasapāya Sutta, the Buddha is asking us to promote this nothingness area. But even then, according to my understanding, you can't promote it because it is happening by its own accord. Only thing is, go prepared. Don't entertain doubts. Don't let the fear to come in. Don't let loneliness to come in. Consider this as aloneness. But to understand the difference between loneliness and the aloneness, so later you may understand, while you are living, you can experience kind of a death. You are no more. Ego is no more. Conceit is no more. Desire is no more. And you are very happy in this limitless area, frictionless area, but only a prepared mind, only a bold mind, only a developed mind can go there and be glad. There may be a lot of rooms for you to entertain doubts. At the beginning, everyone is doing. This talk and this question and this discussion is to make yourself immune to go it and live in, be there as long as possible. And when it is ceases to exist, accept that is also in an equal or choiceless manner. Later you may find the nothingness at your real home, back at home. So that is the point, easy way for you to understand Dhamma and Adhamma, good friends and the bad friends, what is good for your well-being and what is bad for the well-being, because now you have two dimensions, have and have not. So this is, if we can achieve in a retreat, that retreat is highly successful. I have no that much of hope. My aim was just to introduce mindfulness and let the individual to proceed upon the mindfulness, but this is a very good milestone. So familiarize as much as possible.
The next question. Venerable Bhante, during my sitting meditation, two things happen. One, I see a beautiful bright purple light as I breathe in. It comes near, brighter and bigger. Sometimes it touches my body and I feel the beautiful sensation and comfort. Sometimes I just watch the light goes off and on. Oftentimes I don't see the light but the wide angle view of the space I am in. I just am aware of the space and keep breathing, nothing happens. I used to think I wasted the whole hour for nothing, but I realized that it gives me calm and tranquility. So I learned to enjoy the experience. My question is, by the time half an hour of sitting meditation, I feel good about my experience. But physically, I can no longer sit. This has been going on for years. Now, what should I do, Bhante? Do I have to do longer sitting? Do I look for something else? I do walking meditation as well in between these. Thank you very much, Bhante.
We have a kind of a unclear area. The writer of this letter, is it wholeheartedly appreciating this light or have some doubts? What do you feel? What the Vincent is feeling that when you are reading?
Why will you ask it?
Yeah, if if the other person is not there, you also can tell. What does it indicate? It's a kind of a fear for the light or kind of appreciation of the light?
He is enjoying it. He loves it, as far as I understand.
So if it is so, what is the question then?
Do I have to... He can't sit. By the time 1.5 hours sitting meditation, I feel good about my experience, but physically I can no longer sit. Maybe he wants to enjoy sitting and experiencing that.
There's a mixed feeling. At a time, feel like it is wastage of time.
Yeah.
At a time, towards the end of these light episodes, the listless kind of mindset. So can that particular person give little further clarification to the situation? Then it will be easy to discuss. Yeah, yeah.
That when I feel the lights or see the lights, I feel beautiful. But when I see the light, I feel kind of excited. But it's beautiful. It's like seeing beautiful flowers in the garden, so I feel great. And another time, when I don't see the light, I'm just in the space, just looking at this big space, just having a breathing in and out. Because I don't see the lights, I thought it was a waste of time. But later I realized I don't get that excitement. I feel kind of calm now. But the thing is, by the time when I see those things or feel calm, it's already 1.5 hours. Physically, I cannot sit any longer. And schedule-wise, I cannot sit any longer. So I have to stop there. The point is, it's not improving. That's the stop point. So what I should do the next one is my, stepping, whether I should do in another direction or I just keep doing longer hours, pushing myself.
Yeah, now the situation is more clear further on to the letter. So that means this is something related to the liking and disliking to the light. And therefore, this is not pertaining to your primary object, not pertaining to your mindfulness. On the way you met a guest, that's a light. And now your whole story is how to get the light, and if it is not there, what to do kind of thing. So the first question itself is mentioned. Whenever the alignment is there, the mindfulness, the faith, the energy, everything, the power transmission happens. And then the light can happen. If the things are not aligned, the power transmission never happens. But it is nothing permanent damage. So whenever light happens, take it as an endowment or a gift. So it's enlightening your path, it's not blocking the path. Only blocking thing is that your expectation in the next sitting, or when there is no light. So therefore light is good as well as bad. So when I was in New Zealand, in the discussion like this, a joke happens. That means in my absence, one lady has asked another lady in a writing letter, Akka, I used to have that kind of light, but now it is no more, therefore I am desperately waiting for it to happen. So when she is raising the question in the common discussion, another lady made a comment, you wouldn't have paid the electricity bill, that is why no light. Pay the electricity bill. Because that we are so get engrossed and entangled with this light perception. You have to understand whenever the things are aligned, light can happen. But as far as you have your primary object, as far as you know you are sitting, as far as you are breathing, and if you know breathing is there, breath is there, and that must be your pivotal point. That must be your reference point. That must be your object of meditation. And again, with light or without light, have the relationship face-to-face with the primary object. So much so, your concentration may appear like a light, or maybe lightness, or with many, many facets are there. So see under such circumstances, when there is no light, are we still face-to-face or related with your primary object? When there is light, are you still face-to-face with the primary object? That will verify or clarify the doubts. So therefore your relationship with the primary object is the whetstone where you can rub it and see as far as it is get the touch. There is no room for entertaining doubts. Light will vanish it off. But now your mind is, according to the letter as well as the explanation appear, it is somewhat obsessed with the light perception. Take it as a casual visitor, but the primary object must be your chief guest. Always keep the relationship with the chief guest.
The next question, Venerable Bhante, what is the meaning of when the mind touches the object?
That is to say, avenued with, apatagata, or face-to-face with. So this is in the Pali Canon it says apatagata, getting avenued with. For example, aligned with, getting aligned with. Now here in this room, there may be a lot of waves, radio waves, television waves, many channels. But when you get a television and tune to one particular channel, then you can entertain it. Other channels, you can't perceive. Only the average one, only the aligned one, only you can entertain, you can feel. Others are there, they are not aligned. So therefore, whether you switch on the television or not, the room is full of waves. But only the thing you can see is what is avenue. So that decides the next moment. So therefore, at a given time, which one come into align is completely electric thing, completely impromptu. You don't have a choice. So therefore, we are fully endowed with all the possibilities. All the potential is there. Which one is going to get aligned is the one going to decide. So therefore, you have to be aware how much it is non-self, how much it is coincidence, how much it is electric. It's the unpredictable situation. But understanding everything is really rejuvenating. But if you try to hold into your liking and disliking, then you are definitely end up with disappointment. So therefore, getting avenued with one object means that Venerable Jnanaponika Maha Thero in the Power of Mindfulness, he says, selecting one means rejecting many. If you select one, that means consciously you reject everything. So you have to pay for that. So what you are selecting, it must be for your well-being. Otherwise, the desire will select, but must be avenued. So therefore, understanding that situation is a very, very cosmic, very, very universal. So avenuing with one object, you can penetrate into the object, you can see the characteristics of the object, you can see the shape, you can see the manners, so that we know the intrinsic characteristic of the object that you get avenued, get aligned. So that is, to me, it's very, very important in the early part of your mindfulness.
The next question. Lately, while I am meditating, my mouth is constantly contorting in every which way. It twists to the left, then to the right. This happens often. Also, my eyes often suddenly tighten or shut tightly. My eyes tighten and tighter. It seems to feel like this happens when I am going into a deeper state of meditation. 3. Finally, my body moves from side to side, suddenly then stops, and my abdomen contracts in and out. Bhante, please let me know if I should try to stop or control these 3 bodily actions.
So this is called massaging. Whenever the alignment happens, the mindfulness, the faith, the energy, the concentration, the wisdom, the body start to relax, and it is like the sauna bath or a massaging. So whatever exercise part will be natural exercise going to take place. The whole body will be getting a free massage. So in the Chanki Sutta, the Buddha says, Kayena chepi parama satchan satchikaroti. Even the bodily parts witness that to say that is, you are aligned now. Your faculties are aligned. So it's a kind of a coincidence. So when it happens, you have to let go the bodily this thing. And the commentators sometimes says it is abnormal but never unbearable. If you go prepared, never unbearable. You feel like a benumbing kind of experience, or like a beehive, come and rest here. Or sometimes a polythene bag full of water, like the things become tightened. Or balloon is filled and again get relaxed, like a lot of movements are happening. That means the body is in its natural unwinding process. So therefore keep it as a good sign as far as it is bearable, but don't lose the sight of your primary object. So it will be increasing more and more, indicating more and more milestones, like you can continue.
Bhante, I could focus on meditation 100% until recently. But due to a recent incident, I have a hard time to focus. This is somewhat personal, but forgive me if I have to mention this to find the solution. I need to forget a personal relationship which turned into an unpleasant experience, but every time I focus, I get a severe headache with the restless, painful actions of that person. I know it does not exist, but I cannot forget that completely. How do I apply this to get rid of pain and focus on my mindfulness?
You can't get rid of overnight completely, but you can let it fade off, getting less and less or diluted form. The headache is a sign of catharsis. It is going out. Don't hate it. That's the way it is get released. It's a pent-up thing, and now slowly releasing. And it is releasing with signs. Each sign is irritation, uncomfortable, but let it go in piecemeal basis. And therefore, each time it comes, you have to understand now, due to the past action, the results or consequences are happening. And Pandita Sayadaw used to say in Burma, if you hate it, the situation, you are creating new more karmic forces, unwanted or unwholesome things. So as a yogi, what you have to do, choicelessly be aware. This is unpleasant. Irritation, basically due to some of the past action. So can I feel it as if I am benumbed? Mute mutamattam bhavishyati. Or you have to behave like a person without a body. Like the body is suffering due to the past conditioning. Now you look at it, it is not my body, but the body is undergoing some kind of agony or irritation. And as far as it is going, slowly it is dissolving. It's called catharsis. So therefore it's a good challenge. Because it is organically happening, everything negative. But if you go prepared and say this is the way of healing, the way of curing or catharsis, let it happen slowly. More you experience it, less and less in the pent-up energy. So this is the way of releasing. Main thing you must be not to look at it regression. How do you go? Regret. Then you are accumulating more. Just look at it. And then you are not related to that particular person. Moment that particular person comes into being, you are definitely negative. You deal with your own personal feeling or physical feeling and be happy. I am not volitionally getting involved. I know it is catharsis. I know it is healing. I know it is curing. Let that happen. When and where possible.
Next one. Dear Bhante, I used to have a neck pain due to the continuous use of laptop. It is not fully recovered yet. When I do walking meditation, it arises again. Could you please give a suggestion for this? Thank you.
So it is, you have to give up the laptop first and foremost. That's difficult. So it says in future generation, girls' head will be bent because always they are walking like that, with the phone in hand. So in future girls will be with the bent head. So these things are go into the genes. So therefore you have to understand, you know the cause. Now, how lucky our parents, because they don't have laptops. And how lucky monkeys, they don't have laptops. So we so-called civilized beings, and more, and so you see, even you know, you get rid of. So therefore you have to understand the good and the bad, and how much it is for the well-being of me, and why, what is why I can't give it up or reduce it. It's a matter of tilt of your head, and therefore in the walking meditation you can do the counterbalance by yoga exercises and kind of thing. But still, you have to understand the root cause. So do away little by little. You have to get rid of. I am not against the kind of thing, but it must be something utility value rather than addiction. Anything going beyond the utility definitely is going to cause physical and mental imbalances. So there is no second person involved. There is no omnipotent power or energy is coming and cursing you. Your very addiction. So we, as far as volitional activities are conditioned, each and everyone is addicted. Volitional activity means addiction. The Buddha mentions sabbe sankhara anicca, sabbe sankhara dukkha. Each and every such volitional activity is impermanent and leading to suffering. So you must have the ability to say no or to reduce it. But you can of course do some counterbalancing with yoga exercises, but it is therapeutic. But preventive matter is your time with the laptop. Or last time when I go to the optician, they prepared 2 spectacles because that when you are using the laptop, always you have to look down. So instead, you can do some adjustment in the spectacles. Still you can maintain it fair balance or comfortable tilt. So therefore, knowing the cause, do whatever may be towards the well-being of your physical body. You are responsible for that. You must make your body the best friend. May or may not be without using the laptop. So therefore, give a reconsideration about the whole setup.
The next one. Dear Bhante, I practice mindfulness of breathing. When I meditate, time to time, I would experience the state where my breath has vanished. My in-breath and out-breath gets thinner and thinner, becoming very delicate, and finally disappears. I'd be in a vacuum-like space. It's so still, it feels like the whole has stopped. After the realization of my breath has disappeared, I get panic and have these thoughts what's happening? Am I dying? I take a deep breath so I can see the breath. And then meditation starts all over again. I think it's the fear that's blocking me. How can I overcome the situation, and what's the next? What am I expecting? Thank you very much, Bhante.
To handle this in a theoretical way, the Buddha mentioned that normal untrained mind, uninstructed mind, take worries from the whole world, past, future, and other galaxies and everything. So it's unbearable. So instead the Buddha says, go to a forest and sit under a tree and in a place like this, solitude place, and focus to one particular point, one particular materiality, Rupa Kammatthana or Rupa Arambana, and then there are worries pertaining to that particular object, but with the help of that little bit of worries, you can do away with the world full of worries. So therefore, the huge heap of worries you can replace and do away with by little worries pertaining to your breath. Breath itself is a worry, it's a friction, it's a irritation, but it has a practical value. Now, when and where it comes, it is your karma guna is replaced by rupa. And then when you are looking at the particular object again and again, this is happening. That means rupa also going to fade off. So now rupa is going to give into the arupa, or non-material, or the subtle matter. When it is happening, before completely go into the arupa, there's a rupa sanya, where you get a mixture of gray area, perception, or your reality and perceptions, concepts mingle. Am I really looking at the breath? Is it gone, or it is appearing or is it, why it is so subtle? Like the breath come into the in between concept and reality. So it's a very, very, it's a threshold, it's a bottleneck, it's a barrier. So you have to understand before going to the complete emptiness or complete immaterial sphere, where it comes and holds in between. And there are some people take matter is, some people take refuge on the matter and they come back to the breath. Whenever the breath becomes ghost, they become happy. They become at home. Some people take refuge of the immaterial part, so they are happy to go into this infinitum area, frictionless area. When the breath happens, they become sorry, feel bad. So there are two kinds of people. Our population, if everyone is meditating, 50-50. Some are happy with matter, some are happy with the non-matter. So this is a kind of a training period or restraint, kind of a restraint, it's a wisdom restraint. And you have to go understand when the matter fading off and before going to the complete dissolution, this concept and reality, a half dream or half conscious-like situation happen. So if you go prepared, it's a good sign. It's a good milestone. And then you have options, sometimes matter or have, or immaterial, or subtle matter, have not. What is my personality trait? What is my likings and dislikes? If I like matter, I hate no matter, non-material. If I like non-material or subtle matter, I hate material part. So you can see mind is playing. Imagine a day you have equipoised mind, you have a unwavering mind, mature mind, you accept both. It is happening due to cause and effect relationship of them. There's nothing to worry, nothing for me to worry about that. Let this happen, and matter dissolve into the immaterial, and immaterial part come into the matter. That is what the Einstein observed. The energy goes into particles, and particle goes into energy. It's a completely universal. There is no center, there is no self, there is happening. So, My teacher, Venerable Jnanarama, used to say, Adravyen dravya and dravyen adravya. That means, no matter the energy, all of a sudden make some quantum, some matter. And then this again go back to the energies. Whenever it has become energy, it is non-local. It is beyond time and space. Whenever it becomes material, it has specific gravity, a particular place. So this is how it happens. So it takes a long time for you to familiarize it, master it. And whenever there is no dispensation of Buddha, no one can give a leading or directive instructions for that. So we are happy, we are in the dispensation of the Buddha. Buddha mentioned, leave aside the sensuous pleasure or karma guna, instead come between and see matter and non-matter. And when it is happening, how much our egotistic idea, our consciousness going to take one part or judgmental. Matter is better than non-matter. Non-matter is better than matter. So let it happen in such a way, your mind is equipoised, balanced, and not judgmental, to see, then only you can see cause and effect relationship, paticca samuppada. They are happening completely by its own accord, its own dhammata. It's a natural law. So soon you get a stand, either to the matter or no matter, you block this paticca samuppada, you block this natural unfolding of cause and effect relationship. So how much you must withdraw, but still you must be utterly vigilant, utterly diligent, utterly aware what is happening. So that is somewhat unhuman to take such a stand. Let things happen, but you are not going to take a stand. You take a distance observer's status and observe it. And that must be your objective. So this is a kind of a halfway maturity, but it's a very good sign. Let it happen again and again. See how much you have a choice, how much you have a preconceived ideas, but don't stand for them. Just let it happen. And when it is happening, you can see the dhammata, or the natural law, going to take place. So much so, there is no involvement, no commitment necessary. That kind of a look, that kind of observation is the best definition for vipassana. That's what you call insight. You look at it, but never take a stand.
The next one. Dear Bhante, this morning I think you said to have loving kindness to yourself, to think positively of self, then proceed to note feelings. Is it a wise thing to start meditation, walking, seated, lying down after taking a few moments of loving-kindness meditation?
So that is, mindfulness itself has this function. Whenever you are mindful, that you hear now I am. That means you appreciate your present moment. You appreciate present posture. Whatever happening, you try to see a reason to be glad under any circumstances. So therefore not necessarily, according to that definition, to do loving kindness as such. Mindfulness itself is serving the purpose.
Dear Bhante, when thoughts arise during seated and walking meditation, do we just note them? Stop going along with the thoughts once. Once we catch ourselves thinking, and then go back to observing the bodily sensations in walking or breathing, boundaries and awareness. This happens over and over again.
It's very interesting to analyze it and see. When and where we have a pointed object, we'll say while in walking, right leg, left leg, touch of the ground, maybe that much is clear. And without a prior notice, mind go wandering, daydreaming, fantasizing, everything happen. So definitely any person will regret telling the mind is now off the track, unmindful. But the latter part of the letter it says that unmindful state of the mind, or daydreaming mind, fantasizing mind, again come back to the primary object. That's a very good thing. We never appreciate it. We only regret that mind going out. Therefore, if someone is keen to see the way back home from the fantasizing, daydreaming, wandering mind, how does that come back to the primary object? Is it happen consciously? Is it happen with your volitional distinct? And when it come back to the primary object, if the primary object is calm and quiet, or very difficult to get access into back at home. So these things make you completely different picture. I know it's a matter of time we have to answer the question, but still I would like, if the particular person who has written the question, can he or she say the return back journey, is it an intentional thing or it is a coincidence? When you come back to the primary object, if the primary object is ready to receive your mindfulness, or it is difficult to go back to the primary object. That if that contribution happen, it will be very, very dynamic and lively discussion. Can that particular person answer this?
Dear Bhante, when I come back, it's like coming home. It's if I'm sitting and my mind wanders, I can come back and my body can relax. If I'm walking, it's always peaceful to come back. Sometimes it's a little bit of a rough road because the feelings or the thoughts could be, well, especially if they're feelings, they could be quite distracting and upsetting. And that was another question I asked. But if I'm thinking, it always feels good to come back.
So when you're coming back, you feel relaxed and you know it is coming back, but it has not been mentioned in the letter.
Okay, because it keeps happening, and I have to keep coming back.
So you can see our mind is always happy to report about worries, never report about the relaxation, coming back home. That is the way we are happy to have suffering, we are happy to have stress. And we are very happy to share our suffering and stress with others, but the 50% you have relaxation, 50% of coming back home, it's an endowment. So it's called resilience. And Richard Davidson in his book, The Emotional Life of Your Brain, he says you can measure it with the yogis and with the no-yogis, but non-meditators and meditators, so how quickly a meditator can come back home, or resilience or recovery. And he says two functions: the recognition that I am daydreaming, I am fantasizing, and that is kind of a endowment in the human brain. And then now my task is to go back home. That's the second part. But when you read in the scripture in the Buddha, he says 4 stages: sarati, vivarati, uttani karoti, deseti. So whenever you do something wrong or going off the track, or you become negligent something, and even though it's a negligence, even off the track, you have the ability to know it. Not that you know you are in the object. Now you know you are not in the object. So if I ask a question, the you knowing that you are in the object, that's also mindfulness. And you know you are not in the object, that's also mindfulness. Which mindfulness is more efficient?
I think being in the object.
No.
No? Oh, so that
understanding that I am wandering, understanding I am not off the track, is more hilarious, more adventurous. That is the opening way to the liberation.
Okay.
First you have to understand mindfulness in the object. Long training only, you can understand mindfulness can track unmindfulness away. And there you can, if you can be aware, I am wandering, I am daydreaming. I am fantasizing. You are better off. It is called sarati. And de uttani karoti, vivarati, you are not hesitating, you are not regretting, you are not reporting bad, you don't feel bad, you know it. And then uttani karoti, you highlight it. Not only I am mindful on the object, now I have a kind of a mindfulness, I know I am not in the object. And that is against the grain.
Okay.
That is radical in reflection. But you can't say thanks still. The Buddha says, till you report it to someone, you will never get benefits. That's a communication. They say it. You have to go and report, when they not only I am mindful in the object, I know I am daydreaming, I am fantasizing, sound came, thought came, or pain came, but while I am in the pain or thought or sound, still I know I am not at home. That thing, whenever you are trying to report, that will be the best literature on the earth.
Okay, so when my thoughts are going on, I'm still at home if I'm aware of it.
Now you are telling.
Okay. I asked 2 questions, and I got a little bit mixed up on this one. Sometimes in walking meditation, I have very strong feelings. Sometimes I feel like the wind and a lot of freedom, and other times I can feel like a rock. Other times it's very, very sad. Sometimes I feel just joy for other people. They're painful though. I mean, because I keep going different places with them, and there's some feelings that are very painful. So, of course, I like the ones that feel good. And their feelings. Should I stay with the feelings or should I go back to the walking?
Whether the feeling is pleasant or painful, as far as you know, you are in walking.
Okay.
You are within the security.
So I let go of the feelings and I come back to the walking.
Don't make much of a commitment to there. Any kind of a conscious decision. See, now I am with some kind of unrelated painful feeling or unrelated pleasurable feeling. Still, can I be aware that I am walking?
Yes.
As far as you know that you are walking,
yes.
You are recoverable and there is no permanent damage. Let these things happen.
Okay.
So ultimately you will understand you are walking on a carpet of thoughts.
Thank you.
Not this, that you feel the carpet while walking.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see you are walking on a carpet of thoughts. And now you are on thoughts. Not the thoughts are upon you.
Thank you.
So this is the way it is going to happen, and therefore walking meditation is opening such avenues much diversified than sitting meditation.
Yes, it does.
So therefore wherever I book meditation centers, first I ask, do we have enough space for walking? It's an essential part in the walking the meditation center. And recently, in Sri Lanka, there was an article in a Buddhist paper, what are the essential features of a temple, Buddhist temple? They never consider about the walking path because it has forgotten and go on forever. They must have loudspeakers.
Yes.
They must have all the other kind of features. They are essential for a temple with no walking paths. But if you go to ruins in the Anuradhapura and other places, wherever may be renowned places, still you can see walking paths prepared. So much of money they have spent. So we in the present day generation, the present civilization, consider walking is a wastage of time. That's why Pandita Sayadaw used to say. And if you take time for walking, specifically for the younger generation, specifically for the recovering people, specifically for very old people, specifically people with the obsession with the mental situation and kind, the walking is going to give us such a healing, this thing. That's why even it is taking time, I am happy to entertain this kind of a dialogue or discussion, because it will cross the message to society at large. Thank you.
Thank you. So with the body and walking, there's a lot of things locked in the body that walking releases?
Yeah, it takes time, but you don't give any hindrances for this catharsis to take place, unwinding to take place. Whenever uncomfortable, irritation feeling, welcome it. Which is not you created, it is something happening. Only you can do is let it happen in its own accord. You, as far as you know, I am walking. Within the frame of walking.
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Ma'am, is it necessary to read your second question? I think it was answered. Thank you.
So we save time.
We save time. The next question: does mindfulness of breath lead to compassion, insight, and wisdom? How?
In a deep suttas, it says compassion happens only in the empty mind. When the mind is empty, that's what you call compassion. So, mindfulness on the breath leading to the emptiness, there you understand the compassion. So, it's a mindfulness is yes, but it is you have to keep on practice. Then only you are reaching the compassion in its true to type, pure form. So, answer is yes.
The next one. I found out my mind is out of the body and freely go where I want to be. Then occasionally try to see what other people doing. I try to see what they see. Then I feel nothing to do. My question is, what should I need to do for the next step? 2. I found a moon on the top. Should we stay there forever?
Last one. The moon?
I found a moon. Is it moon? Yes. Moon, M-O-A-N, moon, the moon, the sky, yes. I found a moon on the top. Should we stay there forever?
So early part the Buddha says, Durangamang ekacharang asarirang guhasayang. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha says, the mind is running far away distance. Ekacharang, no companion. Asarirang, it doesn't have any body. But occasionally come and rest in this cave. This is the mind. So therefore, when you are not meditating, you do not know even that. While meditating, you can see mind has no agenda. So understanding no agenda, no companion, no limits, no mileage, that understanding is good or bad. What do you think?
I go to the next. We have 6 questions. Do we have the time?
So therefore, first appreciate it. This is the first and foremost benefit of your meditation. Under your very nose, it is not theoretical understanding, it's a reality. The mind is such. An external object then you come across, but whenever there is a doubt, whenever there is any uncertainty, come back home. Coming back home is the way to do away with doubts. Not to entertain doubt, this is the anchorage. Appearing the moon. Yeah, that can be, that many objects, many signs can happen, but they are endless. So, if you have no doubt, look at the moon, no problem. But if you have doubts, please come back home. So coming back is the way to rectify doubts. So beginner is often advised to back home, to develop faith, to get rid of doubts.
6 more questions, shall I go on?
6 more questions, and we have already run out of time.
3 o'clock.
So we'll postpone to tomorrow.
Yes, I will look after them very carefully.
Yeah, and Vincent will go through them, and tomorrow we'll start with them. But anyway, I am happy that the way discussion is happening, more applicable and more related. So whether the number of questions is less or more, if the content is more appealing, that we are successful. So therefore we are going to stop the question and answer session now, and we'll keep the questions for tomorrow. And thank you very much for the participation. Sadhu, 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 sadhu.